Today we're going to learn how to add and subtract fractions.
Today we are going to learn how to add and subtract fractions.
Hoy vamos a practicar a sumar y restar fracciones.
There's two types of fractions that we're going to deal with today. Fractions where the denominators are the same, and fractions where the denominators are different. Okay? Now, if the denominators are the same and you're adding and subtracting, then all you have to do is add or subtract the top, and the bottom stays the same. So our answer is going to be something over what? 15. Okay, and it doesn't matter what the what's on the bottom. As long as you have a like denominator, your answer is going to be something over 15. Now, in this problem, it's going to be something over 15. Well, in this case, we have 14 minus 30. Okay, so I'm going to write right here 14 minus 30. But now we have to simplify 14 minus 30. Okay, in 14 minus 30, you have to leave change opposite because you have a minus sign. Leave this alone, change the sign, and get the opposite of 30, which is negative 30. So now 14 plus negative 30 equals what?
Negative 16.
Negative 16, and that's over what? 15. So now you just subtracted a fraction with a like denominator, a denominator that's the same. Now we have two mixed numbers. What I mean by mixed numbers is you have a whole number and a fraction. A whole number and a fraction. Okay, now what is the denominator right here?
3.
3. And what is the denominator here? 3. Since they're like denominators, you don't have to do any work to make the denominator the same. It already is. But what you do have to do is add your whole numbers. What's 1 plus 4? 5. Now, what is 2/3 plus 1/3? Let's write it over here. 2 over 3 plus 1 over 3. Now, remember what I told you. When the denominator is the same, your answer is going to be over that denominator. Okay? Now you got to do 2 plus 1, which is?
3.
Now, what's 3 over 3?
1.
1. So here you've got 5 plus 1, which is? 6. Okay, now there's another way we could have done it. Do you remember making a mixed number into an improper fraction?
Yes.
The way you do it is you do 3 times 1, which is 3, plus 2 is 5 over 3, plus. Here you do 3 times 4, which is plus 1, 13 over 3. Now, you have just a normal fraction with like denominators, so 5 plus 13 is 18, divided by 3 is 6. So either way, you get the same answer. Okay, the way we did it before was 1 plus 4 was 5, and 2/3 plus 1/3 was 1, so I got 6. So either way, you get the same answer. When you're dealing with fractions that are adding and subtracting, you don't ever touch the denominator unless you don't have a like denominator. If the denominators are the same, you just leave them alone. And you add the top or subtract the top. You understand? Now when we deal with multiply and divide, it'll be different than that. In multiply and divide, you'll mess with the denominator and the numerator. But right now, when we add and subtract, we're only going to mess with the numerator unless the denominator are not the same. Alright, now here we have two mixed numbers. Okay? Now I showed you how to just say 4 plus 7 is 11 and 2/3 plus 1/3 is a 1. Add them up. Okay? But now you're going to get in some trouble when you start messing with negative numbers. So on every one of these, I would make it an improper fraction. What that means is I would make the top bigger than the bottom. That's what an improper fraction is. So I would multiply 3 times 4, and that is?
12.
Plus 2. Okay? That's how you make it improper. You multiply these two, and whatever you get, you add it to the top. 3 times 4 is 12, plus 2 is? 14 over 3. So we just made it improper. Same thing here. 3 times 7 is? 21 plus 1? 22 over 3. Now all we have to do is add them. 14 plus 22 is
36 over 3.
36 over 3. Now, will this divide?
Yeah.
How many times is 3 going to 36? 12.
You could do that the other way.
Now, every time I would like you to take a mixed number like this, and what it means by mixed is this is a fraction and this is a whole number, and we mixing them together. Okay? Anytime you get a mixed number, I want you to make it improper. This is improper. When the top is bigger than the bottom. Now, this fraction's a little different. I got a minus and a negative back to back. What did I tell you to do? Yeah, make them both positive. So now I've got 3 over 8 plus, now I'm going to make this mixed number into an improper fraction. 8 times 1 is 8, plus 1 is 9 over 8. Good. So I've got 3 plus 9, which is 12 over 8. Now, can we reduce that?
Yeah.
Yeah, divide 12 by 2, I get 6, and divide 8 by 2, I get 4. Reduce it again, divide 6 by 2, I get 3. Divide 4 by 2, I get 2. Okay, now 3 halves we know is 1 1/2. Okay, so that's your answer right there. Now you could have said 3 halves and I'd have been just happy with it. Now up to this point we have had like denominators. Denominators that were the same. In this case I have 2 denominators but they're not the same. This is 21 and this is 3. Okay, so now you've got to find a number that will make it so both these are the same. They'll be like denominators. Okay? Now, can I multiply 3 by anything to make it the same as the other one? That's right. 3 times 7 will give me 21, won't it? Okay? But now since I multiplied the bottom times 7, what do I have to do at the top? The top by 7. Okay? Now, we didn't change this over here, so I'm just going to rewrite it as 13 over 21 because we hadn't changed it. Minus, but now we're changing this over here. What is 1 times 7? 7 over 3 times 7? 21. So we completed our objective, which was to get like denominators. Now you just do what we did a couple problems ago. What is 13 minus 7? 6 over what? 21, and then you reduce. 3 goes into 6 2 times, and 3 goes into 21 7 times. So your answer is 2 over 7. So when you subtract 13 over 21 minus 1/3, you get 2 sevenths. And the way we did that was to get a common denominator. Now, here's another problem where I don't have the same denominator. This denominator is 6. This denominator is 2. Okay? First thing I have to do is make this mixed number into a improper fraction. So I'm going to multiply 6 times 1 is 6, plus 1 is 7. So this is 7 over 6 minus 1 over 2. Okay, now is there something I can multiply 2 by to get 6? 3. I can multiply 2 times 3. Right, and so I had to do it at the top also. 1 times 3. So I've got 7 over 6 minus, what's 1 times 3? 3. 1 times 3 is 3. And 2 times 3 is 6. Well, now do I have a like denominator? So I've completed my objective. And now all I have to do is subtract. 7 minus 3 is? 4 over, which equals? 2/3. Very good. If you wonder how I got 2/3, I divided 4 by 2 and got 2. And I divided 6 by 2 and got 3. Now, here I have 2 fractions. And I can't multiply this by anything to get 5, can I? No. So when you have a situation where you can't multiply either number to get the other number, then multiply them by each other. What would 2 times 5 be? 10. Okay, and what would 5 times 2 be? 10. So now would I have a like denominator? Yes. Yeah, I would. You see, I took 2 and I multiplied it by 5, and I took 5 and I multiplied it by 2. But now, what you do on the bottom, you have to do on the top. So what do I have to multiply 1 by? 5. And what do I have to multiply 3 by? What did I multiply the bottom by? 2, so I got to multiply the top by 2 as well. Okay? Now do all your multiplying. 1 times 5 is 5 over 2 times 5 is 10 plus 3 times 2 is 6 over 5 times 2 is 10. Hey, look at that. Now I have common denominators, don't I? 5 plus 6 is 11 over
10.
And I'm happy for you just to leave it as 11 over 10. So to review, we didn't have anything we could multiply one of these numbers by to get the other. So we multiplied them both by each other. But now you can't forget, if you multiply the bottom times something, you got to multiply the top by the same thing. Okay, we multiplied them out, we added them together, and we got our answer.
Today we learned how to add and subtract fractions.
Today we learned how to add and subtract fractions.
Today we learned how to add and subtract fractions.